Good overnight. Welcome to the overnight edition of From Day One. Art Bell is back, and we're going to stay way back in time. This is a normal version of how he would handle Ghost to Ghost out of the old Coast to Coast. This being from April of 1986. So without further ado, here we go.
Yes, indeed. From the island of Guam, out the west, or is it east? Eastward to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands, south into South America, north all the way to the pole, and worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM. Good evening, victims. That's what you all are, is victims. Right? There is no question in my mind, nor has there been for years, about the existence of ghosts. I know there are ghosts. And I think most of you, the majority of you actually, know there are ghosts too. So every now and then we stop what we're doing, whatever that is. What is it we do here anyway? Anyway, we every now and then stop and we do what we call ghost to ghost instead of coast to coast. Actually, it's the same thing, just a new name. And we tell ghost stories all night long. Now, you may hear it in my voice, but if you would like to see it in my face as well, then you're going to want to be absolutely certain you check out tonight's webcam photo, which I took just a very few moments ago. That'll show you, it'll absolutely demonstrate to you what my mood is like. You'll be able to see my mood like that. It's my webcam shot. You know, you go to my webpage, go to program. No. You don't go to program. How do you get there? Let's see. Good. Now I can't even operate my own computer. Here we go. Program and Art Bell Studio Cam. Yes, indeed. Took that a few minutes ago. That'll set the mood for you, all right. I would like to welcome WTSLAM in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Or is it New Hampshire? No, it's New Hampshire.
New whatever.
Technically, it's probably New Hampshire, right? 1400 on the dial there. Yo to Sean Baker, the PD. Do you know what you're in for, Sean? It's going to get a little rough. It always does on these nights. All we do is tell real ghost stories. And, you know, there are a few rules to what we're going to do tonight. Let me lay those down now, all right? Only serious, interesting, scary ghost stories need apply. They're all by phone. Unless you consider yourself to have, because there's as many of you out there as there are ghosts, and a million ghost stories in the night. So only the premium ghost stories need apply. I mean, they've got to be good. So that's rule one. Rule two is, for God's sakes, turn down your radio. Okay? But that's always a rule. Then there's rules about, boy, we have a lot of rules, huh? Ghost photos. Yes, we will accept ghost photographs, as I think now we have I think we have the best collection of ghost photographs on the web. If not, then we're certainly getting close, to the best. And that's thanks to all of you. The same ones that are going to provide the quality ghost stories tonight, I would like to provide provide quality ghost photos as well. So only the good ghost photos need apply. Now, what does that mean? That means any obvious cigarette smoke ghost photos are out. They've got to be better than that. That means a ghost photo with a camera strap blurring the front doesn't count either. Occasionally we get the real you know, last night, or the night before. That was the night before. Somebody led me to, I think it's the 5th page in the gallery. A ghost photos, 5th page, I think. And there's this picture of this, God almighty, there's an arm coming right out of the television. And it looks, you know, if it's a fake, it's a really, really, really good fake. If it's not a fake, it's everybody's nightmare. I mean, it's just everybody's nightmare. You look at that picture, some caller led me there. You know, I slowly, ploddingly made my way there on my own website, and I got to that one. And I oh my God, look at that. I'd never seen it. I guess it's been up there for a while, but I hadn't seen that particular one. That's a real heart stopper. Absolutely no question about it. So we want only quality ghost photos sent to webmaster@artbell.com. That's Keith. He is standing by to review and judge your photograph. And if it's up to par, if it's really scary, we're going to put it up tonight. In fact, we've already got new ghost photos up there for you right now. As the collection continues to grow, I mean, there is no doubt. There is simply no doubt in my mind about the fact that ghosts are real. They are. They're as real as we are. There may be questions about what a ghost is, whether it's a human soul trapped here. Surely sometimes it is, right? Human souls do apparently, for at least a period, if not longer, get trapped here on Earth. And then there may be the memory, the sort of, I don't even know what the right phrase would be, the memory that I don't know what it is that's left of a person when their soul has departed. But something that seems to stick around. Maybe that means we have more components than we thought we had. I mean, soul goes this way. The lingering memory of the person goes that way. I don't know. Have you ever thought about that? We may have more components than you thought. This is really good for any program you do up here. This way of coming back into the show. It's good for any program you do. All right, so you know what we're going to do tonight? It's going to be ghosts all night long. Shall we experiment? You always got to get warmed up in this biz, so let's see. All we're taking are ghost stories tonight. That's it. Got one to tell? Good one? Fine. All other matters are verboten. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Hi.
Oh, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Canada, yes, sir.
See you on CJOB here.
Right.
Anyways, I don't know if I met a ghost or a time traveler, but this is one freaky tale, let me tell you.
Well, just sort of lay it out for me real quickly if you can, and I'll try and make a judgment.
Every summer I go and I live in a tent in a campground. One night I'm sitting there listening to a football game. This guy rides up in an old Indian motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
He had skin that looked like leather. He had Texas plates on his bike.
Yeah, a lot of them in Texas look like that.
He had 2 stickers on the fender skirts. One said America, land of the free, as long as you do what you're told. The other one had a picture of Mount Rushmore and a picture of Reagan smiling with a tooth that was sparkling, and it said, "Don't believe any of them." Anyways, we're sitting there talking. I gave the guy supper.
If you're going to give me this kind of detail all the way through, we don't have enough show to do this.
Okay, anyways, we get talking and comparing countries, this and that. Told me that they never really did land on the moon.
Americans never landed on the moon.
He said that. He said, not only that, he said Apollo 13 didn't happen the way it said. There was no accident in space. I asked them why this would happen. They said, he said the country's morale was down, Vietnam War. He said, if you look at when they came back to the planet, the whole world stopped, sat on their seat, on the edge of their seat, and held their breath. Said they done it for financing. They done it for the morale of the country. Anyways, he went on and on. I asked him what he done. He told me he was a history teacher, and he kind of grinned and gave a belly laugh. He started telling me all these tales. And sometime I got up, went to use the outhouse that was about 200 feet from my tent. I came back, he was gone. I never heard the bike. I asked my neighbor beside me. He never seen the guy all night. Nobody in the campground seen this guy.
So you think that he was the ghost of America? Really?
I don't know if he was
teaching you history the way it really was versus the present matrix that we all live in, right?
I don't know if he was a ghost or a time traveler or what he was.
See, it's close enough. I'll accept that. That's a fair medium call. Ghost or time traveler, who knows? Matrix traveler, how about that? West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, I'm glad I made it there. Yeah, I'd like to speak to Mr. Arbell.
This is Mr. Art Bell.
Hi, sir. How are you?
What can I do for you? Do you have a ghost story?
Yes, I do. I guess it was back in 93. I was in a 7-Eleven. There was just 3 people in this 7-Eleven store, me and 2 people. 2 people came in front of me, and they were going through the yard, where the milk and the soda pops are.
Yes.
And,
generally, yes.
Anyway,
up against the wall, usually.
But anyway, these 2 people looked they were dressed in rag clothes. And they were just a few feet in front of me. And all of a sudden, I heard this voice out of nowhere. It says, "Only fools pay." And I was just looking around, and there was nobody there that said that. And
maybe it was a voice in your own head.
Yeah, only fools pay.
Only fools pay. Trying to talk you into copping a soda pop or God knows what else. See? Could have been your own inner voice tempting you. The little guy that sits over on the... Does he sit on the bad one, sit on the right or the left? Then there's a good one. But the good one doesn't get to speak up that much. That sounds like the bad one. Only fools pay in 7-Eleven. Take it, bud, and run. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Art. This is Frank. I'm calling from Orlando, and I'm listening to you on the internet.
Yes, Frank.
This is quite a few years ago. I was actually pretty young, about 6 years old, 6 or 7. I lived in Long Island at the time, and I had an appearance of some type of apparition in my bedroom window. Stays with me today. I remember it as just like it happened yesterday.
What do you remember it looked like?
It was a definite female, a woman that appeared to be in her 30s. I remember that it was generally all one color, like a greenish or grayish color. And the best description that I can give of her, I could actually see an emotion on her face. It appeared that she looked at me with compassion. If I was to see it today, I wouldn't be frightened. But then I ran out of my room screaming. And I never told anybody about this until about the age of 25. I was mentioning it to my sister. At that point, she told me that she had also seen the same thing in our house.
Oh, no kidding. So
No kidding.
whatever it was then was in the area of your house, and not just visiting you in particular, but...
I would imagine, it was not something that I saw all the time. It was just a one-time deal. My parents never mentioned anything of it, but we did move out of that house about a year afterwards, and the people who purchased the house from us moved out about 2 months afterwards. Now, I don't know if that's related or not. But
I don't suppose when you sold that house that you disclosed to this happy little honeymooning couple that was going to get it next, that there was an entity in there that would tend to show up by your bed in your window at night?
Well, at the time, I wasn't old enough to have that kind of contact to give that information, but...
You mean you didn't say, Mommy, Daddy,
No.
you've got to tell them?
Well, actually, I have a grandmother who was babysitting that evening, and she does remember me running out of my room screaming. But, yeah.
All right. I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you, and take care. Yes? An entity. Well, what do we know about this? We know that ghosts, particularly those produced by suicides, especially suicides, and that is worrisome, seem to hang around the place where they committed suicide, where they took their own life. So I suppose had you had a chance to, check into it a little bit, you might have found that somebody may have done themselves in on that property somewhere. These days, you've got to disclose that kind of thing when you sell a house. But you and I all know, we both know, don't we, that you would never disclose that, would you? And oh, by the way, you're buying an entity as well. It's in the house here. No? You're not likely to say that, are you? So, I wonder how frequently such a thing is invoked. I suppose when there's an official prior history of haunting. Now, how would you establish that? Well, newspaper articles, perhaps? I can see an attorney using that. You see, there was publicity about this house. Everybody knows there was something wrong, very, very wrong in this house. A newspaper story like that. So who would want to have one about their house, right? Nobody. So then you couldn't sell it without disclosing what was really going on inside. I'm Art Bell. This is Ghost AM.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind. He was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what."
Yes. Jenny was sweet. But was she human? I have a way of knowing things. And I know this. If you have a really good ghost story, and you don't try to get through tonight, something really awful is going to happen to you. This has burdened you long enough. This is your opportunity for release by telling your story. And if you don't, it's not my responsibility. You've been warned. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air.
How you doing, Art?
Well, so far so good.
Before I tell you, can I ask you a question?
Possibly.
Do you know what lineage the Vikings were?
No.
I don't either, so I guess it's not going to help. But anyway, I don't really believe in ghost art, but I do believe in demonic manifestations. I believe there's familiar spirits which pose as people that we've known. which are actually demonic manifestations.
That is a really conservative religious viewpoint, isn't it?
Right. And I believe there's non-specific demonic manifestations.
And you believe everything that would be that explains the millions of stories we can get on this program and elsewhere, and photographs, all of it is explained by the devil.
Well, yes, because the Bible points it out about familiar spirits, and of course.
And so, all right, fine. We'll go with what you believe your category to be.
But that doesn't mean. But I also believe that it.
I'm not going to argue it with you. You believe it. I've no.
Right.
Fine. Believe it. Just tell me. Have you had an encounter with an evil, demonic spirit?
Absolutely. But let me just say that I believe that they could be interdimensional beings too. That doesn't because that's separate entities.
So you're a little open-minded.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Go ahead. Tell your story.
Now this comes with a parallel too. Me and a friend both had this same experience at different times. It's pretty wild. Not only do we have the same experience, we had been friends for several years, and then all of a sudden we found out, while he was retracing his roots, that we had the same grandfather in Ireland, the same great-great-great-great-grandfather in Ireland, which was very weird because we're both from different areas of the country, and we met each other through work. But anyway, what happened one night is, I'll get right to the story, I woke up, and what I saw was really, really scary. There was a big entity in my room at the foot of my bed, and it was huge, and it had horns, great, huge horns on its head. And I'll get to the clincher of this in a minute. But it had great horns on its head, and it had red eyes, bright red eyes, and it was just standing there in my doorway.
Hate red eyes. Hate red eyes.
Right. Well, what I did is I said, of course, and I'm not really. I believe in the Bible and I believe in Christianity, but I'm not a big practicing Christian. But nevertheless, I said, in the name of Jesus, be gone. And the entity walked back through the door and faded away.
All right. And I've heard this a million times.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm sorry. There's more?
Oh, it's much more to this.
I was just going to say, though, and this will argue a little bit with your belief system, I know, but you might as well have said, in the name of Art Bell, the paranormal talk shows, be gone.
Well, that might have scared him, too.
It might have, and it certainly would have told us a lot. Now, somebody out there should try. Now, I'm not going to be responsible for any lawsuit for any bloody popes just sort of lingering and soaking into the bed that are left after this is tried.
But there's a great other part of this story, though.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Me and my friend, we practice coffee drinking at restaurants late at night, talking about things, including your show.
Yes.
We like to talk about your show over coffee. But anyway, I told him about that experience one night. I told him, and he says, well, I had the same experience, the same thing.
Yeah.
And I said, did it have horns on its head? He said, yeah. And I said, something similar to you said, and it backed down the hallway. I didn't tell him one point of this. I said, well, tell me what it looked like. He said, well, the horns weren't really horns. It was like a Viking cap. And I looked at my friend and said, I did not tell you this part about it.
Yeah, the lineage.
That's what it was. It was a Viking cap. I didn't tell him that, but we both had the same experiences. He both said something similar, and his, instead of, just out of the room, his was in the hallway, and it walked down the hallway and disappeared. But it was like a huge Viking.
I'm with you all the way, and I can't think of anything that I would less like to see than something with glowing red eyes. That creeps me out. That always creeps me out. Glowing red eyes, I know, are bad. Very bad. No matter what else, what other form the creature has, the glowing red eyes, they're very bad. And by the way, just so there's no mistake about it, if I ever encountered one of these things and I had to invoke a name to get it gone, you can bet your bottom dollar it wouldn't be my name. You all want to try that, you go right ahead. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
This is Robert, the KFI in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir, the mighty KFI.
I have been haunted by the ghost of a dead cheerleader.
Whoa. Not as bad as a lot I hear about, sir.
Oh, yes. She died quite recently. She was murdered by a photographer, and the photographer was sentenced and convicted for murdering her.
Yes.
Remember this story?
No, but well, let's see. Do I? I do remember. Well, anyway, it's not important. Go right ahead.
All right.
Dead
Well, you
cheerleader.
see, I had met her five years previously, but I was haunted by her in 1973 when I was in the Air Force. I would be in formation. There'd be several thousand of us in formation going to tech school, and all of a sudden, the entire formation was called to a halt while all the big NCOs and officers came up to look at me, and I'm standing there wearing a cute little cheerleader outfit with pom-poms in my hand, and the airman behind me is rubbing my behind. And after that, my life was a living heck, and I couldn't understand it. And anyway,
I remember boot camp real well. And people like you, if you were really in that outfit, it's like you went home the next day. That was a ticket home. So there can't possibly be more to this story.
Oh, there's funny.
Well, there can't be, except to say that in boot camp, a lot of us, in our mind's eye, saw cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, in fact.
Well, everybody saw one.
And there wasn't a woman around to be seen.
Anyways, my former commanding officer was Brigadier General Chuck Yeager. Shortly after that, he came down to interview me.
Why?
Because my commanding officer was friends with Yeager, and Yeager came to interview because he heard about it. This is about the time of the comet. This is about the time of the comet in 1973, and about the time Colonel Fox was
It never got that weird, sir. Never. Chuck Yeager had a lot of things to do with his time, but interviewing people who had donned cheerleading uniforms in basic training while getting fondled, that would not have been high on his list. I don't buy it, Monk. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Sorry about that. A little slow on the trigger here. I'm not a Canadian, so I really enjoy it. It must be Air Force night tonight. I'm retired Air Force.
Are you?
I was stationed at F.E. Warren Air Force Base the last few months I was in, and since I went retired on active duty, they gave me a position babysitting in the dormitories. The buildings at F.E. Warren are extremely old. They're from about after the Civil War. And I worked very late at night.
That really is old.
Yeah. Quite a nice base. But as I was sitting there, must have been about 3 in the morning, I had a Buffalo soldier report in. And
a Buffalo soldier?
Yeah, full regalia, buckskins, the hat, the pistols. Just terrified me.
You mean just came right up to you?
He came into my office.
Full form, not wispy or anything like a ghost, but just solid human?
No, he was solid to me, and then he left. He just disappeared. Vaporized, I guess, would be the best word for it.
In front of your eyes?
In front of my eyes. About 5 minutes after, everybody in the dormitory knew I'd seen him. Because it did scare me.
Well, there are two types after an experience like that. One is, like you, can't keep your mouth shut, going to have to tell everybody in sight just to feel better about it. And the other is, I'm never telling anybody about this. I'm going to go have a little nap, and I'm going to see if I feel better.
Well, I lived across the field from General Blackjack's old house, Blackjack Pershing.
Yes.
And there were reports of lights and stuff in that building, his old house. And I had never believed anything until that soldier reported to me. And that was amazing.
Here's something that I've thought an awful lot about, and that is battlefields. I, too, was in the Air Force to pile on here, and during Vietnam, and a lot of people died, and, there are a lot of ghosts on battlefields, and I've been, if a ghost is really a human soul still here on Earth, then there would be, in my mind, zero righteousness in the world and a very unfair God to take any soldier who had died in defense of his country and keep his soul trapped on Earth.
Yes.
How ultimately unfair would that be?
That would be a terrible, terrible afterlife.
Yeah, exactly right. Thank you very much. Terrible indeed. So, why then are battlefields littered with ghosts? look for here is that indeed it is not the soul, but some other component of what's left of you when your body is gone. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
This is Anita from Harrisburg, Oregon.
Hi there, Anita.
Hi. I have a kind of a freaky story to tell that happened to me. Actually, we've had several things happen to us in this house. And anyway, my husband and I had just watched a movie. It was the Amityville Horror, and we're getting ready for bed and went and got in, and I started getting this really icky feeling like something evil was in the room with me.
Yes.
And my husband had gone to sleep, and we had our 1-year-old son in the same room, and he started fussing and wouldn't settle down, and I was starting to doze off. Every time I doze off, I jump awake, like something kept bothering me, or and I had this real evil feeling. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I had dozed off, and I jumped awake again because it felt like something had taken a finger and run across my feet at the end of the bed, and I heard a hiss. It was a hiss.
And you don't have cats?
No, we didn't have any cats.
Hisses are really bad.
Yeah, but I had the light on all night. I was laying there on my back, so I could see all around the sides of me, and anyway, I was so scared. I didn't know what to do, so I said, just said a quick prayer, and that feeling went away. And we finally,
and whatever it was, went away.
Yeah, it did. And my son settled down, and I settled down, and we slept the rest of the night. And
well, I guess we've got to ask: is that really the power of God? Is the prayer the invocation of the Lord's name?
Yeah, but
Jesus, does that really drive these things away, or is it just the command, your command, your mental command to be gone?
Yeah, but before that, my husband had seen a big figure in our doorway of the bedroom. He just saw the form of it, and this was like probably a couple months before my experience. And then it went away, and then a couple nights later, he woke up, and it was right in his face. And he goes, "What do you want?" And it says, "I want you." And he just lay there. He was just frozen. And then I woke up, too, and he was just drenched in sweat.
My God, you mean you both saw him, or when you woke, you saw him drenched in sweat, huh?
Yeah, he was all freaked out, and
that's interesting because I've never heard of anybody coming back from "I want you."
Yeah, I know. Well, we moved into this house. We had to clean it out, and upstairs there were stacks and stacks of witchcraft books, and we kind of think that had something to do with it.
Do you know anything about the former tenants?
Not really. Just that they weren't very clean. We had to clean up the whole house.
And they obviously had a big interest in witchcraft.
Oh yeah, big interest. And even my kids, when they were little, they slept up in that room where we cleaned the books out of. And my oldest son said he would see, he described them as white ladies dancing in the closet. And he said that they made kind of a growling sound.
Growling?
Yeah. Yeah, so we've had a lot of weird stuff happen here, but...
That's another thing that would be really upsetting to me, would be a female growling.
Yeah, yeah, and my older daughter had seen him too at the same time. So I knew that they, and they were totally serious.
That's even more serious. When you have like two people, two witnesses, two family members who see the same thing at the same time, if that really happens, time to move out.
Well, actually, we had a house fire, and it burned the whole upstairs.
You're kidding.
Scorched it.
Did it really?
Yeah, and so my husband remodeled the whole house, and we tore the whole top of the house off completely. And ever since then, we have not had anything happen here in this house.
Well, I wonder, but what does that say?
I don't know. That's really, that's another thing I found really strange because, after the house fire, we rebuilt the house, and then nothing happens again.
So you burned the ghost out, or the ghost burned itself out. And what caused the fire? Do you know?
Well, they think it was an extension cord, but they're not sure.
Yeah, that's almost as good as swamp gas for UFOs.
This house was built in 1940, so a lots of things could have happened here.
But see, that sort of seems to say that whatever it was locked into that physical place, that physical building.
Uh-huh.
And so what in the world do you suppose happened to it when it burned?
I don't know. That's what I've always wondered. That's had me puzzled because, you know, we were having so many weird things happen here, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Well, a lot of people in the audience scoff at this kind of thing, and they say, baloney. Stories, made up stories. Not made up, is it?
No, none of it.
I appreciate your call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
And with that, we will leave Art Bell and the ghost stories for tonight. Make sure you do come back tomorrow night. Sorry, for more ghost stories. Until then, please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Help us get to that goal of 50,000 views, 1,000 subscribers. So Boxy sends those nice red packages over so we can send out to you, and of course Google puts us on the algorithms. So, until next time, as always, make sure to subscribe, be kind to one another, and release the crackers as we march along this overnight and every overnight here from day. Sorry, one. Have a great night's sleep. We'll see you all bright and early tomorrow.